Hello guys, I am back from break. It's been about 3 weeks since I recorded my last video. So we're back for 2020. It's going to be a breakdown for the January 5th NBA 9-game slate. We're going to start off as usual with point guard, but first, the three teams that are going to be on the first leg of a back-to-back are the Thunder, the Nets, and the Kings. So, you can monitor, or you might need to take that into consideration when you're making your lineups. Maybe they play like a few minutes, or they just pull their stars a little bit early if the game gets out of hand. But point guard, we're going to start with Luka as the stud option for this position. 12.2K against the Bulls. The Bulls are more of a slower paced team, but they actually are a pretty solid defensive team lately. They've been pretty good on that side of the ball, so there's definitely the pace and the defense that's working against Dallas in this one. But Porzingis is unexpected to play in this one, so again, Doncic is going to have to get just an enormous 40% usage rate, and he's going to be the guy that's going to be doing everything for this Mavericks team. He's playing a lot of minutes, so 12.2, it's still a very fair price tag on him. He's priced, I would say, right where he should be, so he's going to be one of the top spend of options on this slate. Next, Trae Young, 9.8K. He's definitely in consideration as well. His price is a little bit up, but if John Collins were to miss this game, I think Trae Young's still going to be in consideration for me, going to be in my player pool. Even in a tough matchup against Denver, I'd expect Gary Harris to guard him in this one. But still, Trae Young, he's just a guy that's going to have to do a whole lot similar to what Luka's doing. Obviously, Trae's not getting as many rebounds and assists as Luka is, but Trae Young, he's going to have the ball a whole lot in his hands, and he's $2,400 cheaper than Luka, so if it can't get all the way up, I think Trae Young makes for a very good option. I think both these guys are more tournament plays as of now. There definitely could be a lot of value, a lot of good value that opens up because this is a 9-game slate, and there are actually quite a few injuries as of the night before that I'm recording this. So I like Trae Young, 9.8K, definitely a guy that has a very good ceiling, especially if John Collins is out. I think if Collins is in, I probably would just kind of not want as much Trae Young. I think he's definitely still in consideration for a little bit, but I think I definitely want him when Collins is out. Next, the guys that I like or have interest in, I'm going to go to Devontae Graham, 7.7K. I think there's everyone else. Either I'm going to talk about them at other positions like Mitchell, or they're just kind of overpriced, or in like a bad matchup or something. Devontae Graham, 7.7K. Graham and Rozier both play pretty well when they're at home, and in this one where the Pacers are going to be without Malcolm Brogdon, he's their best perimeter defender. You can make an argument that he's their best player as well, but without him in this one, their defense is not as great. Devontae Graham is having a tremendous season, 7.7K. His price is about where I would expect it to be. I think that he's still very much in play. He's not going to get a whole lot of ownership, and he definitely has a very good ceiling, so he definitely deserves a look. And then Lonzo Ball, 6.8K. If Drew Holiday is out, I will consider him, but it is a very tough matchup. He's been shooting really well, and that's not something that Lonzo is known for, so definitely he could be in for like a bad performance soon, but I think if Drew is out, you do have to consider him just because he's going to have to be doing a whole lot more. He's going to be having the ball in his hands a lot as well, so I like Lonzo if Drew is out. If Holiday is in, I'm not going to have any Lonzo. And then again with the Hornets, Terry Rozier, 6.7K. He deserves consideration because he has 50-point upside. He's shown that a few times this year, or a few times in the NBA season this year. So 6,700, I think he definitely deserves a look. And then next, Eric Bledsoe, 6K. He still seems to be on a minutes limit, but we're going to have to wait for word on that. If he's limited maybe like 30 minutes, or maybe he's not limited anymore, then I think he's definitely going to be in consideration just because 6K is a very good price for him if he's going to be able to play close to those minutes. And the Spurs, they're not a good defensive team this year, and point guards, they're really not that great. I think they're like bottom 10 in the league, so Bledsoe definitely in a good exploitable matchup. Aaron Holiday, 5.8K against the Hornets. The Hornets are not good defensively like all around, but now with Malcolm Brogdon out, TJ McConnell is questionable too. I think that if McConnell were to miss, I think that elevates Aaron Holiday. If McConnell were to play, I still have a little bit of interest, but just minimal at that point. Next, DeJounte Murray, 5.2K. He's questionable, but he is expected to play. He's not on the injury report because of a personal injury or personal matter. And because it is not an actual injury, Murray should be able to play like 28 minutes. If you're lucky, maybe he gets into the 30s because this game stays close and he's playing really well, something like that. Popovich has let him get into the 30s a couple times this year, so I think Murray deserves a look. His price is down from where he usually is, around like the high fives, low sixes. So Murray in consideration. Markelle Fultz, DJ Augustine, both of these guys are in play because Brooklyn is they're not a great defensive team. They're not bad at all. They've actually recently they've been pretty solid, but it's because of the pace. Orlando, we know them as just a very solid defensive team that plays really slow, but against the Nets here, the Nets against point guards have not been that great, and Fulton and Augustine do share a few minutes on the court together, so I really like either one. I think you should not play these in the same lineup, but I think you can definitely take shares in different lineups. I would prefer Fultz just because he is starting and his minutes are a little bit safer. He usually plays around 30. Augustine could vary from like 24, even at least. But I think I like both these point guards in a spot that is pretty good for both of them. Next, we're going to go to JJ Barea, 4,500. I honestly expected this guy to not play a whole lot of minutes just because he's one of the older guys on the team. But if Tim Hardaway Jr. were to miss this game, I think Barea is going to be in play. The matchup, again, the Bulls have been pretty solid defensively, but because it is really just Luka and if there's no THJ, Barea is going to have to do a whole lot more. He does get like around 8 minutes. That's what he got last time without Luka on the court, so that's going to make him the primary ball handler, which is really good because Barea has been a very capable fantasy producer over the years. So if he were to play like, say, really 25 minutes maybe, he's going to be an excellent play because he is a pretty solid fantasy guy. And then next, Isaiah Thomas, 4.1K, going to be my cheapest point guard pick of the day. I don't think he's going to be like my favorite or anything. I think he's just worth like a GPP long shot. But Bradley Beal, if he were to miss Isaiah Thomas, he is going to definitely have a bigger role. He got ejected 2 games ago, and he just wasn't really playing that great. I think he was in foul trouble as well, so that's why his minutes have been down. Ish Smith was also just going off a career high, so that allowed him to play pretty much like almost the entire second half. So Isaiah Thomas, 4.1K, his price is down now just because of the poor performances recently, but this price now is too low. If IT can just have like not even like an amazing start to the game, but if we were to play like just okay, he can definitely get like a ceiling game. And at 4,100, there's definitely potential for 10x here. And it's against Boston if you want to like factor in the revenge or anything, even though this game is at home for the Wizards. But IT, if he just starts off well, he's not in foul trouble or anything like that. Kemba's out for this game, so he's not going to have to guard him. There's definitely a path to a very good GPP winning potential in this spot for IT because his price is just so low. And also, nobody's going to want him because he's just been really bad lately and he's not having a good season. And then not to shooting guard now. Bradley Beal, depending on when we get word for his injury, if he were to play and the news comes pretty late, like within 30 minutes of lock, his ownership's going to be like at most maybe 10%. So you're going to get a really low-owned guy who definitely has amazing potential for like a ceiling game, even though it is against Boston. 8.5K for Beal is too cheap, no matter what the matchup is. And if you were to just play and not be limited, I think you definitely gotta have to play him in tournaments. If he's out, then obviously just don't play him. You look to like McRae, Troy Brown, all these other guys. But Beal, 8,500, if he is ruled in, then I think you definitely need to consider him. Donovan Mitchell, 8.1K. This is a terrific spot for all these Jazz players. I think that blowout potential is definitely a concern, but I'm generally not going to try to project those. I think that Mitchell, just like any player that's in a good spot, you definitely want to have shares of at least. Mitchell, 8.1K, his price is fair. I usually like to play him when he's like in the 7s, but without Conley still and just the role that Mitchell is having this year, he's taking at least like 20 shots every single game. And we know this is a very good spot. They're going to get paced up significantly. Maybe this game somehow stays close. Stranger things have happened. This game is at New Orleans, so maybe that happens. Mitchell, 8.1K, I think it's a fair price tag for him, so I definitely want to take a shot with him. Zach LaVine, 7.7K. Lauri Markkanen is currently listed doubtful for this game, and Dallas isn't the best at defending opposing shooting guards, and without Lauri, LaVine does see about like a 2% increase in his usage rate. So I think at this price tag, he definitely is worth a shot. He's a guy that if you just look at his game log, if you're doing that, he pretty much is getting you at least 30, almost always like 40 at least. And he's going to have, I would say, a higher ceiling because of Lauri being out. And he's playing heavy minutes. He's taking a whole lot of shots. He's taking a whole lot of threes. So 3-point bonus definitely works on a site like DraftKings. And he's making a whole lot. He's shooting almost 40% from three. And he's getting a few steals here and there. So he definitely is going to be the go-to guy for this game. A stack of like Luka and LaVine definitely could work. Next is Jaylen Brown, 7,400 against Washington. A lot of these Celtics are going to be in play just because of the matchup and how friendly the Wizards are. Just they play fast, they don't play defense, and they usually keep the games close. So Jaylen Brown, even though his price is getting up there, without Kemba Walker still, I definitely still like Brown, even though he is 7,400. Other guys, Buddy Hield, 7,200, I like. The Warriors just aren't that great, we know that, and Bogdanovich is currently listed as doubtful, so without him, Buddy is going to be looking at some pretty heavy minutes. The Kings ran, I think, like an 8 or 9 man rotation last game, and all the stars just played really heavy minutes, except for Bielitsa, who I also do have interest in, just because he was in foul trouble last game. But Marvin Bagley's going to remain out, so all these Kings guys are going to have to play heavy minutes in a game that should be close. The Kings aren't really a team that blows anybody out, and they certainly shouldn't be getting blown out by the Warriors here. So, Buddy, 7,200 with the 3-point bonus on DraftKings. I like him. And then other guys, Alec Burks for the Warriors side, 6,500 without D'Angelo. He's still going to be the main guy here for the Warriors, so I definitely like him. He finally had a better game 2 games ago against the Wolves. He was chalked, but because he didn't play well, a lot of people just didn't want to play him the next time, and that's just kind of how DFS works. So if a guy just doesn't play well before, but you go right back to him and he does well, you're probably going to get him at way lower ownership. So that's going to be a guy that I'm going to try to go after, that I'm going to mention soon. Jeremy Lamb, 6K with Brogdon out. I think he deserves consideration, but he did shoot pretty well, and he's not a guy that's going to get a whole lot of peripherals. So that game when he got 45, that's kind of an outlier game, 5 for 5 from 3, 6 rebounds, just kind of like ceiling numbers for Jeremy Lamb. But 6K, I think that he can definitely get there, just not going to be a core play. Next is going to be Jordan McRae. I think that he's almost like a plug-and play if Bradley Beal is out. Again, I understand the Celtics, they're good defense, but if Bradley Beal is out, just so much usage opens up. McRae is going to be lower owned because of just how bad he played last time, but just the same thing with what I just mentioned with Alec Burks. McRae's going to be lower owned than he should be because of the dud last game, and that's when you just go right back to him. Same thing with Marcus Smart, 5,200. He did not have a good game last time, but without Kemba Walker being in the lineup, this is the same spot as, I would say actually a better spot, being that it's against the Wizards. So Marcus Smart can just shoot a little bit better, get some rebounds, which he certainly is capable of. He's going to be able to get you at least 5x. So I really like Marcus Smart. And then on to small forward, we're going to start off with another Celtic, Jason Tatum at 8K. I like him in this spot. Same thing, just against the Wizards. Definitely has potential for a big game. And then same thing with Gordon Hayward. Just another Celtic. I'm going to have exposure to pretty much like all these Celtic starters probably. And Hayward, 7,100. I would say that his ceiling is probably a little bit lower than Tatum. Just because of Tatum being more of the go-to guy, and he probably is a bit better of a rebounder. But with Tatum, you know where you're going to get heavy minutes. Hayward, he doesn't play as many minutes, I believe. Similar, but just not as close. He's a guy that's capable of producing a little bit of everything. Similar, just like to Tatum, both of these guys. But Hayward is $900 cheaper, so I would say that if you can't get to Tatum, then just get to Hayward or Brown at that price if you can do something with the savings. So I like Hayward, same matchup as these other Celtics, just terrific for fantasy purposes. DeMar DeRozan, 7K. He had a pretty solid game last time against the Bucks, but now Dejounte Murray is going to be back. So that's going to be a guy that's going to be handling the ball more, and that's going to take it away from guys like DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge. So it's definitely a hit for DeRozan, but 7K, I definitely do think that DeRozan can still get there 5x. He's usually a guy that can get you 5x pretty easily. He's a solid cash game play, but Bucks, they are a good defense, and with Murray rather, in this one, I think that DeRozan definitely is not in as great of a spot as he was last time when he was cheaper and without Dejounte. Next is going to be Troy Brown Jr., 6,100. I don't think this is really like a play that you would call that you're chasing, just because if Bradley Beal is out, there's going to be the same kind of usage, same kind of shots that are going to be freed up. And Troy Brown, Jordan McRae, they're going to be the main guys. Ish Smith ball handling. So I would still put Troy Brown in consideration if Bradley Beal is out. If Beal is in, then I'm not going to play Troy Brown at this price tag. Next, TJ Warren, 6K. I think that I would prefer Warren actually over Lamb, even though Warren doesn't seem like he does a whole lot, but he just takes a whole lot more shots than Lamb. He's a better scorer, in my opinion. I think peripherals, they don't really get a whole lot, both these guys, but at 6K, depending on like position, maybe if you need guard, maybe go with Lamb, but they're getting the Hornets. Maybe if you want to go with revenge, Jeremy Lamb was a Hornet some seasons ago, but I think TJ Warren is the better play here because without Brogdon, they're going to need a whole lot more scoring, and that's going to be what Warren offers. Next, Harrison Barnes, 5,700. He had a pretty solid game last time. He was just shooting really well. But still, against the Warriors, if you want to talk about revenge again, here's another player. But it's just because of the minutes. If Bogdanovich, which we expect him to miss this game, Barnes is going to play heavy minutes. The rotation is pretty solid, like set in stone for the Kings. So he's going to play high 30s minutes at least. And we know what you're going to get from Barnes. He could be unproductive because that's just kind of the player he is. But he's a very volatile player, which makes him in play for tournaments. And it's a great matchup. Next, Joe Ingles. I would prefer Ingles over Barnes at the same price tag just because of the matchup. And he's just a whole lot more productive. He facilitates a whole lot more with Mike Conley out. And he's a guy that just does a little bit of everything. So I like Ingles 5,700 over Harrison Barnes. And then other guys, Glenn Robinson could be a popular play without a lot of the Warriors like D'Angelo Russell, Draymond Green. A lot of them just missing. So Glenn Robinson, he's one of the Warriors that their minutes are kind of safer. The other guys are Alec Burks and Damian Lee. They usually play at least 30 minutes. Everyone else plays like around 20 or fewer. So it's kind of tough to project usually. Maybe like the game stays close. They just play with a hot hand. But it's a lot tougher to call. With Glenn Robinson, at least you know that you're going to get some good solid minutes. 4,800, I definitely think that price tag is fair. He's definitely not like the best player, but he's a guy that can definitely offer you some value on this slate. Next is going to be Royce O'Neal. Again, just a matchup. It's a pretty nice one for fantasy purposes. He is 3,800, but again, it's a 9-game slate. There's, I would say, probably other better value options out there, but if you're just really looking for like a small forward, you need one, and you just happen to land on him at 3,800, I think he's fine, but definitely don't like prioritize him and don't try to like get to him. Trevor Ariza, same thing, 3,600. He could potentially play some pretty heavy minutes in this one without Bogdanovich, and it's a nice matchup. So same thing, Royce O'Neal. Just don't prioritize them. Don't expect too much out of them. Next, on to power forward. Giannis, 10.9K. Even though he hasn't been playing huge minutes, his price tag is too low. Against the Spurs, they have tried to put LaMarcus Aldridge out on him, but that's just really not a matchup. He's just matchup proof in general. But now with the price discount, 10.9K, I think I'd probably prefer Giannis over Luka because of the discount. But that potentially could make Luka a lot lower on than he should be. There's definitely a route where you can try to get both of them in the same lineup. There is value. So yeah, 10.9K, I definitely would prioritize him if you're paying up. Next, Domantas Sabonis, 8.6K. His price went down when he just put up like a 5x, over 5x game. So that's definitely not a good pricing technique by DraftKings, but 8,600, definitely take advantage of it against the Hornets. It's going to be a good spot for him. The Hornets have not been good against bigs. We know Sabonis is pretty much like a double-double machine. And if you just look at like how well he's been playing, this season, he's just been so consistent, and his numbers, just not even like fantasy points, but just everything else. You can see them, or so you can see Sabonis contributing like in every category, and same thing with like all these other Pacer stars are gonna get usage bumps because of Malcolm Brogdon being out. So I really like Sabonis here. Next is gonna be John Collins if he is able to play 7,500. That seems a little bit too cheap for him. There's definitely some foul trouble risk if he's gonna be starting at center against Jokic, but Jokic is not the best defender, so John Collins could definitely use his athleticism, his strength to match up against Jokic pretty well. His price just, again, seems a little bit too cheap, so I like Collins if he's able to play without any limits. And then next is going to be Aaron. Aaron Gordon, 6K against Brooklyn. The Nets have been pretty solid. Taurean Prince has been playing well against opposing power forwards, but Aaron Gordon without Jonathan Isaac, he definitely is able to get more rebounds. He seems to be pretty healthy, returning back from his Achilles injury. He's been playing good minutes, and 6K, it seems a little bit too cheap. He definitely can get a double-double now that he's going to be a power forward, which we expect him to. Probably Birch will not start because the Brooklyn Nets do go smaller at power forward. So I like Aaron Gordon at 6K. I think the price is fair for him. Again, it's also a pace-up matchup for the Magic, so I like that. And then Bojan Bogdanovic, 5.9K. I prefer Ingles, but Bojan definitely is a guy that can just get hot and shoot really well. 5,900 against the Pelicans, just a good matchup, so I like Bojan. And then other guys at power forward, Nemanja Bjelica, 5.6K. He got into foul trouble last game. Draymond Green's going to be out for this game, so he's not going to have to deal with that defense. And I would say that there really isn't that much foul trouble risk here. And also, just Bjelica is a guy that if he gets hot, he can get you a double-double. He can shoot well. He's going to be able to get you like 40 DraftKings points. So definitely a guy that you need to consider. Marvin Bagley's still going to be out, so his minutes are still going to be pretty safe as long as he's not in foul trouble. That's why he only played 22 minutes last time. And so if he's able to just, have a pretty solid shooting game, he gets his shots, gets his rebounds, definitely there's a ceiling of 30 plus minutes with a ceiling of 40 plus DraftKings points. Next is going to be Taurean Prince, 5,300. Not the best matchup, just a price thing. 5,300, he's going to play like 30 minutes a night. And he seems a little bit too cheap with the potential for like a double-double. And if he shoots well, we've seen him get like 40 DraftKings points. So, going to be tournament only. He's going to be very low owned, but that's just kind of like a tournament shot. And then other guys, Jabari Parker, if John Collins is out, 4,700, even in a tough matchup, I think definitely was a shot because he's going to have to do a whole lot more if he and Trae Young are going to be the only guys, more so the only talented offensive guys for this team. So if he's able to play and John Collins is out, I think he deserves consideration. Next is going to be Jonathan Williams, 3.7K. If Bradley Beal and Ian Mahinmi are out, that means that Jonathan Williams could potentially close at center if Mahinmi is out. It just makes his minutes a lot safer, and especially against the Celtics, where we know they have some struggles against opposing bigs. And then Eric Paschall, 3.7K with Draymond Green out. He potentially could be starting at power forward. The Kings are not that talented of a team, and they have been trying to play faster, so the Kings are not going to be like that slow of a team with De'Aaron Fox back, especially. And without D'Lo, there's going to be a whole lot more usage. So Alec Burks, Damian Lee, Eric Paschall, 3.7K. These guys are going to be able to get a whole lot more usage. And if Paschall were to be able to start, he plays well, definitely can get you way over 5x. And then Thaddeus Young, probably going to be a popular value play on this slate just because of Laurie Markkinen being doubtful. He could be picking up the spot start. 3,700 does feel way too cheap. He's not priced for the role that he will get. So he's going to be chalk. I think you just play him in cash as of now. But do remember that Chandler Hutchinson is expected to play in this one. He was active last game, but he didn't see the court. And Hutchinson is a guy that can play small forward and power forward. He's been playing small forward mostly. He's actually started for like Chris Dunn. So there's potential that maybe he plays power forward and Thaddeus Young doesn't get a whole lot of minutes. But if he's able to start, I think you definitely just play Thaddeus Young. I would expect Young to play maybe, at least 24 minutes with potential to hit 30 if he starts and he's able to have like a good game, stays out of foul trouble, all that. So Thaddeus Young also could be used to guard Doncic potentially. So 3,700 just feels too cheap for the role that he's in. So I like that for value. And then last guy is going to be Jeremy Grant, 3.5K. More of a dart throw if we're really looking for someone really cheap, but I definitely would feel a lot more comfortable with a guy like Pascal or Thaddeus Young. Now, lastly, on to center Joel Embiid, 9.4K. Nerlens Noel is going to be out, so Steven Adams is going to have to play probably a whole lot more minutes in this one. Mike Muscala was the backup center when Noel was injured, and Muscala definitely is not going to be able to handle Embiid, and we know that could be a potential here because of how the rotations work out. So Embiid's definitely in a smash spot in this one. It definitely doesn't seem like it. But Steven Adams, he's been known as a good defender. That's his reputation. But we've seen him have troubles against other guys like Jokic, talented centers that can just, do everything. So Embiid, this is not that bad of a matchup. 9.4K, that price is fair. I think that with a guy like Trae Young, there's more upside, but Embiid does feel like he's in a pretty good spot here. At least in my opinion, 9.4K, especially when he's going to get a few minutes against Mike Muscala. Nikola Jokic, terrific spot against the Hawks. Pace up, everything, definitely working in Jokic's favor. But Denver is very talented. This could be a blowout spot. And also, Jokic does have some severe home and away splits, so maybe he doesn't play that well because they just don't need him as much. They can go with Jamal Murray, Michael Porter, maybe he's hot off the bench, Will Barton. Other guys that definitely can just be having good games that forces Jokic to kind of be more passive. Next, Nikola Vucevic, 8.3K against the Brooklyn Nets. His price is pretty good. I think I'd rather have it be this price tag than if it's price started with a 7, just because of how that works. I think that Vucevic is not going to be that popular just because he's not in the 7Ks. And this is a terrific matchup. DeAndre Jordan started last time. Jarrett Allen, whoever it is, both of them are not really that talented of defenders. They definitely can block some shots, but just one-on-one, this is going to be a good spot for Vucevic because of the pace-up. And without Jonathan Isaac, Vucevic is still going to have a really good usage rate in this offense. So 8,300, I definitely like it. Still feels like a pretty good spot. Rudy Gobert, same thing with him. Great spot, fast pace, 7.9K, seems cheap. Pretty much a lock for a double-double. Very talented shot blocker. So Gobert seems like a solid cash play. Vucevic definitely has more upside just because he has a more offensive game. And then next is going to be Wendell Carter at 6K. Without Lauri Markkanen, Wendell Carter potentially could get more rebounds just because Markkanen is bigger and he's probably more of a talented rebounder than Thaddeus Young. And Carter, he's going to be needed. He usually plays some pretty heavy minutes when he's not in foul trouble. So he's played, I believe, like 36 and 36 minutes both times actually recently. So if he's out of foul trouble, he's definitely a guy that can get you a double-double. And at 6K, with the potential that he has to get you over 5x, I definitely think that he's worth a shot, especially in tournaments, and he's also power forward eligible. Enes Kanter, 5.8K against Washington, just a very good matchup for opposing center, so that's why he's in consideration. But of course, the minutes, they're not the best for him, but the matchup, he's a very capable fantasy producer, so I like Kanter. Next is Alex Len, 5.3K if John Collins is out. I think if Collins is in, you just fade him. If he is out, Alex Len is able to start. There's definitely foul concerns against Jokic, but 5,300, there's definitely upside with Alex Len, so I like him. And then elsewhere, next guy, Dwight Powell, 4,900 against the Bulls. That's a very good spot. We know Biggs against Chicago is very nice, and Powell, he's probably going to play a whole lot of minutes just because of them being pretty thin now without Porzingis. So 4,900 makes a whole lot of sense. And then next is going to be more GPP plays. Willie Cauley-Stein, Bismack Biyombo. Maybe Steve Kerr lets WCS play a little bit more because of the revenge factor. Biyombo, just because there's definitely a ceiling here with his price being cheap. But of course, there's definitely other ways like PJ Washington, Marvin Williams, Cody Zeller, ceiling minutes. Next is going to be Daniel Tice, 4K, more of a cash option, but you could get him potentially low owned just because of how he burned people last time when he was pretty chalky. But him, Marcus Smart, these are the kind of guys that definitely have very good ceilings and they could be lower owned than they should be because of recency bias. 4K, just a guy that is going to be power forward eligible that can play a lot of big men in your lineup. So 4K seems cheap in a very good matchup. And then Mason Plumlee if you're going to be looking into blowouts. And another guy, last guy's going to be Pashnix, 3.6K if Ian Mahinmi were to be out. I think Pashnix could potentially start. Maybe they go with Jonathan Williams, but either way, Pashnix is going to be probably playing at least 20 minutes if Mahinmi were to miss. If Mahinmi's in, I don't want him. But if he's out, I think he's definitely worth consideration for potentially like a value play, maybe in cash even. So overall on this slate, I think currently my favorite plays are going to be Marcus Smart. And then I'm going to try to pay up for Luka and Daniel Tice. Actually, I really like him just because he's going to be low owned. Alec Burks maybe. So just move Luka to like the small forward position, and then other guys I think Paschal and the Thaddeus Young, the other value 3,700 guy, they definitely do make sense depending on if they start or not. But they're just gonna be plug and play, so I'm not gonna put him in. Same with Jordan McRae. I think he's definitely gonna be pretty solid chalky option if Bradley Beal were to miss. So I think I'll plug in Domantas Sabonis at center. So these 5 guys I like currently. I'm sure this is going to change based off of injuries that we're going to be able to get tomorrow before the slate. So I'm glad I'm able to be back to make this video for you guys. Hopefully that you guys are able to do pretty well in fantasy, DFS, on DraftKings, FanDuel, Yahoo, wherever you play. So for 2020, I hope all of you guys are able to win big, win a tournament. And just thank you guys for all the support. Thank you guys for watching my videos, leaving a like, subscribing, all of that, leaving a comment. I really appreciate that a lot, every single like. So please do that if you can. And if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. My Twitter is at Bobfuls. If you want to reach me on there, you want to DM me or at me on Twitter. So just, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to answer your guys' questions. So thank you guys for watching, and good luck on the slate. And I will probably be back for the future slates. So more videos to come. Thank you guys again, and I'll see you in the next one. Good luck on the slate, and bye.